My name's Jonathan Irish. My fiance Stephanie Taylor is over there speaking with some other individuals. On Wednesday night at 11:37, our daughter Cheyenne was born.
There were doctors coming in to monitor me, to monitor the baby.
When she wasn't even 16 hours old, the hospital head of security came in with a nurse
And told me that she needed to see the pediatrician and be evaluated so that we could take her home.
All the doctors had come into the room to see Stephanie and the baby. Until now, they had never taken either of them out of the room.
My fiance told them, no, the doctors can come into the room to see her. And they disagreed with us, told us that she had to go to the nursery.
To back up a little bit, earlier in the morning, my gut started going off when the woman came up with the head of security, and they were giving us flack and refusing to put my name on my daughter's birth certificate.
But we decided, okay, she go ahead and go check her out. We would love to take her home as soon as we can.
They wheeled her into the nursery, locked the door.
The second they started walking off, Jonathan decided he was going to go with them.
And that's when I started noticing men and detectives walking around the hall, standing about 25 feet away from Stephanie's door to her hospital room.
Next thing I know, one of the guys, the head of security, he brought my fiance back into the room, and my fiance looked like he was going to start crying. I didn't know what was going on.
Concord police came in, uniformed patrolmen and detectives accompanied by DCYF social workers.
One caseworker of which I recognized right off the bat because she took my boys away from me in January of 2009.
She had our cell phone sitting next to her. I told her to grab the cell phone and turn the video camera on to record it. And the police officers, DCYF and the head of security said, no, we're not doing this. You're not allowed to record this.
When I saw her, my first reaction was, what are you doing here? And then I was just wondering where my daughter was. And they told us that DCYF was taking my daughter. I don't know what I did to upset anybody to have all three of my children taken away, but I would love to know what I did so horribly bad.
You're watching OTN, the Obscure Truth Network.
And they said everything we need to know is in the affidavit. They don't have to tell us anything. And that came from the mouth of Dana Bickford, the DCYF social worker.
And I didn't see it coming. My caseworker with my boys, I had asked her, when I give birth to my daughter, are you going to be standing there with a catcher's mitt to take her too? She said no. Well, obviously she lied to me there.
They handed me the affidavit. I tried to read through it real quick, but they kept shoving documents in front of my fiance Stephanie and I.
They handed Jonathan a affidavit of a petition for abuse and neglect, which we're trying to figure out how you can abuse and or neglect a 16-hour-old baby.
She was hysterical in tears, and they were shoving paperwork in front of her telling her she had to sign it. She had to sign it.
As skimming through it, Jonathan noticed that a reason they took her is because he's affiliated with a militia called the Oath Keepers.
To this day, I'm still not 100% sure exactly what it was they wanted her to sign. She only signed one piece of paperwork, as far as I know, and that stated that they are not to take our daughter out of state.
My caseworker had actually told me that she had Googled my fiance's name, Jonathan Irish, and found his Facebook page, his affiliation with Oath Keepers.
You know, I was involved in setting up several of the very first New Hampshire Oath Keepers meetings, and she has a concealed weapons permit. She carries a .45 caliber handgun for her protection because of her ex-husband, who's threatened to kill her and to kill our daughter.
What did the police do about that?
About the threats?
Yeah.
Honestly, pretty much nothing. There was a restraining order issued, and the only thing they charged her ex-husband with was telephone harassment instead of criminal threatening.
In this CPS affidavit, they talk about Jonathan Irish being arrested for having a concealed weapon, and they admit that it was his wife's gun who was actually driving the car. She was in the car, but because it was in a laptop bag. See, you go out and get their concealed carry, and then, oh, well, the gun's not on you. We're going to arrest your husband, and then now we're going to take your child because there's a gun charge, and we went and searched the internet and found out your husband goes on a message board and talks about freedom. I mean, this just shows the secret police in America, what Homeland Security's for. Jonathan, tell that story of what happened with the gun.
Well, I had surgery. Stephanie was driving, and since she was 6-7 months pregnant at this point, she couldn't very well carry a handgun in a holster on a belt where she's wearing maternity pants without a belt loop.
Sure, it shows how they want to nickel and dime and twist things out of the law. So they pull you over, what happens?
Well, they were actually sitting in our driveway when we got home.
Okay, so you're being watched. This is some kind of test case. Okay, so they're sitting in your driveway.
They're sitting in my driveway waiting for us to get home. Again, there was about 6 different cruisers, 3 different towns, sitting there waiting for us. And they pulled me out of the vehicle.
So this is gang stalking, and we've seen this in Austin. They will profile a family beforehand, knowing a baby's coming due, and so they were there to set you up ahead of getting the baby. Now I understand. So they're waiting at your house. What happens?
Well, they look at Stephanie and tell her to tell them where her firearm is, and she was scared. The officer intimidated her into showing her where her firearm was. She had opened the laptop case that the firearm was in, and at that point, the police officer took it upon himself to take the firearm, unload the weapon, and walk away with it, and arrest me for possession of a concealed weapon without a permit.
Absolutely incredible. So this is how America works. But the secret police, you know, they've been taught by the Southern Poverty Law Center, you're the devil, so they're doing a good thing. They're setting up an extremist. They're going to get that baby.
You know, to this day, they still haven't given us an exact reason as to why they trespassed on private property and why they came onto our property and were waiting at the house for us. There has been ongoing harassment from Northwood and Epsom Police Department that is well documented. We have had numerous meetings with the Northwood Police Commission, and the Northwood Police Commission has dusted everything under the rug, to say the least. They're doing everything and anything to protect the officers from them.
He just wanted it to be known that he's another American citizen that loves his country.
It kills me inside. I'm to the point where I can't cry anymore. I can't get mad. I just want something done. I want people to know that these agencies, these individuals have done this, and that, you know, if they're doing it to us, how many other people have they done it to that aren't saying anything?
There's kids out there in homes where they are being abused.
I didn't think they would actually come and take a newborn